Hello, and what is going on today, guys? Tomcat here, and welcome back to Forza Motorsport 6. Today, we're going to be taking a look at some of the new cars, and I know these came out just a few days ago, and I wanted to get to them exactly when they came out, but there was a couple of other things that combined with internet connection and things that had to download and things that had to upload that was a little bit jumbled on what was going to, what actually had to get uploaded. So anyway, you guys are seeing these now. And I am very excited about a lot of these cars, actually all of these cars. You'll see the next one that I have coming after this is going to be a little bit of a different car that you guys don't normally see on my channel. You don't really normally see me drive cars like what I'm about to drive in the next video. But the car I'm about to drive in this video, you guys see me drive cars like this a lot. We're going to be doing the new CTS V. The new CTS V is an absolute monster. I'll just get that out of the way right now. The old CTS V was, well, I say the second generation CTS V was always a really cool car. It was always a car that I had a liking towards. I really liked that car. And then this third gen CTS V is way up there, and I love the car. I love the way they've presented the car, but at the same time, there are a couple of things that would make me choose something else over it. Like, if I was actually looking at one of these in real life, I feel like I would rather have a second generation rather than a third generation, not a first gen, because the first gens didn't have the supercharger, they didn't have anywhere near as nice of an interior, but the second gens came with the option of a manual gearbox. And this third gen, I believe, is also heavier, and it's also bigger than the second gen. So I still prefer the second gen car, and I might do a comparison between this third gen car and then the second gen CTS V Coupe that's in Forza 6 as well, just to see which one I actually like better. But at the end of the day, they're both very good driving cars. And in a minute, you're going to be able to see a couple of circuit laps, and then we're going to take it on an all-out rip, just a drift lap like crazy. So the main thing that I was kind of thinking about when I was picking a circuit was, where is a track that kind of has a little bit of everything and is kind of a track that I sort of know a little bit. And I settled on Road Atlanta because Road Atlanta, number one, is an hour and a half from my house. So that right there is enough for me to pick Road Atlanta. But Road Atlanta is just a great track. It really is. It's an awesome track. Now, the interior is just kind of like, it's okay. It's not as showy or as flashy as the second gen CTS V interiors, which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. It depends on your, depends on like how you look at this type of a car. But it can do an awesome brake standing burnout. That's the thing. Like, it will do an absolutely incredible brake standing burnout. Get those rear tires heated up like crazy. I feel like you could also turn this into a decent drag car if you wanted. But I could honestly, I could see this being multi-purpose enough to be able to, like, to where you could have a drag tune, a circuit tune, and a drift tune. You could even have 3 different builds, like 3 different cars, each with their own specific build and tune. And I think that would be really cool because this car can actually do it. After a few corners, you realize that it can handle. It turns in very nicely. It does have a little bit of understeer, but that's nothing that can't be fixed with a little bit of throttle. You'll get some oversteer, and you'll be able to correct it right out. Now, you can actually trail brake a tiny bit, but not all that much. It's a little bit of a big, heavy car, so you can't really trail brake it like you could a Miata or an 86 or something like that. But you can definitely get, a little bit of adjustment under braking. A little bit. Not a lot, but just a little bit. Kind of like if you need to adjust it under braking, you can. It's not like you're going to plow head on into the wall if you try to do like an adjustment using the brakes. You still can. It's just not going to be quite as usable under braking as some other more sporty, lighter cars. This is more of a super sedan, something to compete against the BMW M5, Mercedes, AMG cars. So when it comes to that kind of a market, I think they do a really good job. I think they've got something that they really have a good chance of working with. But at the same time, I mean, I miss the fact that this car doesn't come with a manual. I mean, you can drive it with a manual in Forza, but if you're going to try and drive one in real life, you can't get a manual anymore. And that kind of sucks because you've got this awesome powertrain, tons of power, supercharged power, and rear-wheel drive, and it's just kind of a shame to me that you can't use that with a manual gearbox. And the automatic, I've heard, is not bad. I've heard it's not bad at all, but it's not a dual clutch either. It's not like a DCT transmission or anything like that that you get in a BMW M car or an AMG car. Whereas in this, like I said, you just get the automatic. Now, you do get the option of, like, you have paddle shifters, you can shift it yourself, but still, it's just kind of like I feel like there's something missing there, especially for the CTSV enthusiasts that do something other than drag racing. Because if you're going to drag race this car, the automatic is logical. I can see that. The automatic is going to be faster, it's going to be technically more consistent, so I can see how the automatic might be a better option. But at the end of the day, I personally would still have the manual because I like road courses, I like autocross, I like mountains, I like drift events, really. And, I mean, a friend of mine actually has a CTSV sedan, a manual CTSV sedan, and he's used it for everything. He takes it up to the dragon, like the tail of the dragon in the mountains. He's taken it drifting a couple of times. I believe he's taken it to a road course as well. So it's a very, very multi-purpose usable car, and I feel like having just an automatic transmission really detracts from that value of being a multi-purpose super sedan. So with my gripe about automatic transmissions over, let's get to the drifting, because if you want a factory out-of-the-box drift car, this thing does such a good job that you wouldn't barely even have to tune this car to use it in online drifting. You could take this thing into drift lobbies and already have an advantage. Like, if your skill is there, you're good to go, because you can use this car just as well as a lot of other cars that you might tune to drift. And sure, you're not going to have maybe the same amount of adjustability as some other cars mid-corner, or maybe based on steering angle or camber or something like that. But, well, actually, I take that back, because you can't really adjust steering angle, quote-unquote angle, in Forza. But at the same time, anyway, when it comes to drifting, this would be a great car to teach yourself how to drift on, because it's very forgiving. It's got a lot of power. It doesn't have too much power, but it's got a lot of power. It's got a great amount of balanced power, really. And it's got a nice balance in the suspension and the chassis, and it just feels really nice to drift. It feels really nice to drift it. It feels, it's really easy to drift it. It's really easy to catch it. And, I mean, the only thing that it doesn't particularly like is, like, massive, massive angle, but as long as you don't try to get, like, if you try to get right near the edge of, like, a 90, then it starts to kind of get out of shape a little bit. But if you're kind of playing around right before 90 degrees, like 75 degrees, 80 degrees, you're good right up until you get to 90. If you're going to get to 90 in this car and it's stock, you better be ready to catch it, because I came into this corner way too hot and blew the corner to smithereens, ran way out into the sand trap. Don't worry, because we're going to do it again. This was my first run around the Formula D section. I messed up right about here because there's a surface change. If you don't know, there's a surface change and a change in grip when you get onto that surface, and it's really weird. But I went for another lap because I really wanted to make sure I actually got it down in this car. And this time around, it went fine. It went just fine. It's just something you have to have a couple of different attempts at. And it's just kind of a little bit on the annoying side that they make that surface a little bit less grippy. And it can be a little bit frustrating at times. But really and truly, it's just a great section to practice drifting if you want something that's a little bit more in-depth than the test track parking lot. If you're just learning, by all means, use the test track parking lot, drift around the light poles. It's a great way to learn. But if you want a section that actually changes it up a little bit, but is really forgiving with big runoff and big sand traps, this is a great section to use because it throws a surface change in there. So I personally would really recommend this section. I think it's a fun section to drift. I think it's a fun section to use, and I have a lot of fun here. I have a lot of fun here. I think it's a section that kind of puts a lot of different elements of your drifting and your driving to the test. But if you guys did enjoy this review of the new Cadillac CTS-V in Forza Motorsport 6, definitely don't forget to click that like button. Tell me in the comment section down below what you guys thought of it. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more. I will be coming out with more Forza 6 Car Pack DLC reviews very soon, as well as more Forza Horizon 2 Will It Off-Road videos. Because I know some of you guys were like, oh, he's just going to play more spin tires. He's not going to come out with more of those. Oh, yeah. You guys might actually be wrong on that one. there's more of them coming. They're already recorded and they're on their way. So again, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Talk to you guys later, and hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys later. I just said the same thing a million times, but you know what? I don't care because outro. Boom, outro, done.